Sometimes a woman must first let go of the people around her to save her own heart. The people you waited years for, thinking they understand me, were actually standing on your boundaries. They stole your smile, eroded your self-confidence, alienated you from life. But you remained silent. Because you respected love, you blamed yourself, even when you were met with disrespect. This story is ending now, because when a woman turns back to herself, the entire balance shifts. What we're talking about here today isn't just attitudes, it's rebirth. Being loved without cheapening yourself, being valued not by force, but by merit, being a woman who owns her existence, dressing without needing anyone's approval, building a life for yourself without waiting for them to call. Now there's a clear sentence you need to say. I am not anyone's daily whim. These words are not just anger. They are the declaration of your return to your throne. Now I'm going to ask you for something. Write a single sentence below. I am taking back my value. When you write this, you won't just be leaving a comment. You will be sealing a decision you have made on your own behalf. That seal will make the doors this video opens for you even stronger. Take a deep breath, this time for yourself. If you're ready, let's begin. 1. She never shares her private life publicly. A beautiful woman knows that private life is sacred. Exposing every emotion she experiences, every step she takes, every relationship she has, leaves her vulnerable. Because the more visible she is, the more she is judged. As people judge, she loses control of her own life. That's why she experiences both her happiness and her pain within herself first. There is strength in her silence. She doesn't need a theater played out in front of everyone's eyes. Today, social media turns even people's most intimate feelings into a marketplace. While some share posts just to show they are in a relationship, a strong woman does not need to do this, because she does not declare her love to others. She makes it real by making the person she loves feel it. Her relationship grows in her heart, not on social media. She values a word from the person she loves, not the applause of others. The more a woman shares about her private life, the more comments, expectations, and pressure arise. A beautiful woman chooses to live knowing this. She keeps people's curiosity about her, but her boundaries are clear. Some mistake this for mystery, but it is actually the clearest sign of self-confidence. She remains strong by protecting what is hers, because privacy is the armor of the soul. The most fragile period of a relationship is when the foundations are being laid and people are putting on a show. A beautiful woman does not share every aspect of the person she is with. No one knows if they have fought. Even if they have made up, she does not advertise it, because the bond between them can be weakened by any outside opinion. That is why she prefers to nurture her relationship in her own heart, rather than in the eyes of others. Criticism, jealousy, malicious words. People's tongues are sharp. Not everyone's heart is filled with good intentions. The beautiful woman does not want the shadow of the outside world to fall on her relationship. Her happiness is her own. She is not obliged to share her joy with anyone. Knowing that there is as much bad intention as there is good, she does not open the center of her life to the crowd. And most importantly, keeping her private life private is freedom. The unknown is often power itself. Rather than being a story known to everyone, the beautiful woman chooses to be a world known only to those who value her. Getting to know her takes effort. Not everyone can see her, not everyone can know her, because she only opens the door to her life to those who deserve it. That is why her story always remains more valuable and more impressive. By the way, if you like the video and subscribe to our channel, you will be supporting me in the most effective way. 2. She never lies to herself. A beautiful woman first faces the truth in her own mirror. Even if there are truths she doesn't like, She doesn't run away from them, because she knows that people hurt themselves most when they deceive themselves. She doesn't chase after a fading interest by telling herself, "He loves me." She doesn't ignore a broken spirit by telling herself, "I'm fine." Every honest look she takes at herself is the beginning of her journey of transformation. Many people choose to distort the truth and live in a fantasy world. But a strong woman does not elevate false love to the status of true love. She does not claim empty interest as her destiny. Being clear with oneself is the most difficult test, and she passes this test not by running away from it, but by facing it head-on, because she knows that only in this way can she illuminate the darkness within. Lying to oneself locks the flow of life. If someone you say deserves me doesn't deserve you, they steal your time. If you say I'm happy, but you're unhappy, you silence your heart. A beautiful woman knows that the price of a silenced heart is very heavy. That's why she doesn't belittle her feelings. Whatever she feels, she calls it by its name. She calls pain, pain, love, love. For a beautiful woman, honesty is not just about the other person. It is the order of her own inner world. Someone who lies to themselves will one day inevitably start lying to others. She, however, wants to be transparent in her relationships. She wants to be clear, understandable, and have a clear conscience when she lays her head on her pillow. Because the purest form of peace is transparency with oneself. She does not want to manipulate her inner voice. She does not remain stuck with people who say, "Maybe it will get better," and waste away a little more every day. She says, "I deserve this," because she truly does. A beautiful woman knows that no matter how difficult the truth may be, she will become stronger in the end. Every truth holds a lesson, and every lesson holds an uplift. And most importantly, not lying to oneself is the clearest definition of self-respect. A woman who does not deceive herself never accepts being deceived. The honesty within her is her armor. No matter what the world says, she stands by her own truth. That is why she both appears valuable and remains valuable. Because no woman built on truth can ever be destroyed. A woman who does not lie to herself does not extinguish her own light. When she suppresses a feeling, that feeling is only buried deeper and emerges stronger. That is why she listens carefully to the voice of her heart instead of silencing it. If she does not feel good, she asks, "Why?" If she feels unloved, she courageously questions, "Do I have to put up with this?" Because the biggest step that changes a woman's life is asking herself the right questions, without running away, without hiding, without making excuses, only by seeing the truth. This awareness takes her to a stronger place, both emotionally and mentally. And most importantly, a woman who can be honest with herself puts everyone who enters her life in their rightful place. She quickly understands who is truly there and who is only pretending to be. She does not tolerate half-hearted love, lack of attention, or false promises. Because when she stops lying to herself, she does not allow anyone else to lie to her either. This clarity is her shield. No one can manipulate her. No one can make her lose sight of herself. No one can bring down a woman who is true to herself, because to be brought down, she would first have to surrender to her own lies. But she does not surrender. She chooses honesty with herself and walks proudly. 3. She never sends persistent messages or calls. A beautiful woman knows that real interest will find its way. Chasing after someone who is running away is giving away your value. If a man really wants you, he will reach you. If he is really curious, he will ask. Writing messages over and over again to reach him, staying online for hours waiting for a reply, only weighs on your own heart. That's why she stays calm. She doesn't insist. She doesn't run, because she deserves to be pursued. She doesn't fantasize about someone who doesn't reply to her messages. She doesn't make excuses like, maybe he was busy, maybe his phone was on silent. No reply is already a reply. A woman's true strength is understanding this truth early on. A beautiful woman doesn't try to force someone who chooses absence to be present. Because begged for attention is not value, it's crumbs. And she refuses to fill her stomach with those crumbs. Balance is very important in relationships. If one side is constantly making moves, the other side never tires. A beautiful woman does not open the door to one-sided effort. She does not act with the mentality of, I'll call so we can talk. She waits patiently, but she does not exhaust herself while waiting. She stands her ground without compromising her value, because every extra message sent is sometimes a loss. Communication is a reflection of how a woman sees herself. Because she respects herself, a beautiful woman chooses to be accessible when necessary, not unreachable. Her silence teaches the other side a lesson. If you really want to be valued, you behave in a valuable way. She also conveys this truth through her behavior. I won't have to remind you of myself. Every woman has a breaking point. The message she waits for doesn't come, and the indifference between the lines grows. At that moment, the beautiful woman tells herself, I don't compete for my worth, because what is valuable is what is demanded. The name of the woman who is chaste is remembered. The story of the chaser, however, ends quickly. That's why she stops chasing. And most of the time, when she stops, the other side starts chasing. And most importantly, the beautiful woman knows that true love grows not with effort, but with reciprocity. Not receiving a message is not the end of the world. Sometimes it is the door to a new beginning. When a woman withdraws, the sound of silence becomes loud, because a posture of self-respect is the strongest warning. That posture sends this message to everyone. The path is open to those who want to continue communicating with me. The door is closed to those who run away. 4. She never feels the need to explain herself. A beautiful woman knows that someone who constantly tries to explain themselves is actually seeking approval. She wants respect, not approval. She doesn't try to prove herself to anyone by saying, "This is who I really am, you misunderstood me." Because character is understood not by words, but by stance. If someone really wants to know you, they will make the effort. If they don't, explanations are just wasted effort. Feeling compelled to explain yourself is entering the other person's sphere of control. A beautiful woman does not surrender control of her life to anyone. She stands by her choices. She does not ask permission for her decisions, nor does she apologize for her life, because she knows that what requires an apology is a mistake. What needs defending is not one's personality. Some people try to establish control by demanding explanations. Why are you dressed like that? Why are you late? Who were you talking to? A beautiful woman refuses to enter this interrogation room. She draws clear boundaries. She knows she deserves to be understood, not questioned. And she doesn't stay long where she is not understood. When dealing with complicated people, explanations never end. Every word opens the door to new misunderstandings. The beautiful woman stops the moment she realizes she is wasting energy. The effort to prove oneself is a swamp that makes one feel worthless. She retreats rather than getting stuck in this swamp, because being worthy of being understood is more important than explaining oneself. Silence is sometimes the clearest answer. The beautiful woman speaks even when she is silent. This is the calmest way of saying, "This is who I am." She focuses on living her life, not explaining herself. No matter what people think of her, no one can change the direction of her soul. This self-confidence is the essence of her most attractive grace. And most importantly, a woman who doesn't explain herself is powerful because she is centered. Anyone who wants to know her has to put in the effort. This is not mystery, it is value. If a person doesn't make an effort to understand you, then they don't deserve to be in your life. The points I will share in the rest of this video will bring you to just such a strong center. So don't leave, we're just getting started. 5. She never strikes exaggerated poses to be seen. A beautiful woman focuses on inspiring respect, not attracting attention. While everyone tries to show their best version on the artificial stage offered by social media, she maintains the elegance of being herself. She doesn't flaunt her body, her posture, or her femininity to appear more in the eyes of others. Because she knows, true attractiveness comes not from struggling to be seen, but from a natural posture. The more calm and confident a woman is, the more impressive she is. Hours spent posing for a photo or video can create an artificial image of beauty. But if the soul is not there, the viewer sees only an empty body. A beautiful woman does not hide her soul and put her body forward. She knows that any behavior that reduces her to just an image diminishes her value. That's why her charm comes not from poses, but from natural expression and sincere gaze. Excessive showiness is often used to cover up inner insecurity. The message, "Look, I'm here," is actually a cry of, "Notice me, or I'll disappear." A beautiful woman would never stoop to this. She does not seek validation from the crowd. The less effort she makes, the more attention she attracts. Because true confidence is understood without the need to show off. She remains in people's minds not through exaggeration, but through elegance. Constantly putting outward appearance first reduces a woman to 2 dimensions. But a strong woman is 3-dimensional. Her soul, her mind, and her appearance shine together. She never upsets this balance. She exists without saying, "I'm here," with her clothes, her behavior, her posture. That's when the real magic begins. People don't just see her, they wonder about her. They want to get to know her. Curiosity is much more valuable than artificial interest. If a woman has the power to carry her own essence, she doesn't need to pose. Because her charm is not in photographs, it is felt in the moment she exists. Even when she enters a room quietly, all eyes turn to her. The reason is not that she sways her hips or shows her chest. It is that she knows herself. Her posture, her identity, her self-confidence, all speak without saying a word. This is the voice of true beauty, not loud, but deep. And most importantly, a beautiful woman lives to be understood, not to be seen. She speaks with her presence, not her body. She touches hearts, not crowds, because she knows a pose lasts only seconds, but the impact of character lasts a lifetime. That's why she doesn't try to be seen. She is already visible with her own light. 6. She never waits for attention that isn't there. A beautiful woman reads attention from reality, not from fantasy. Someone's words may be very beautiful, but the lack of action reveals everything. She doesn't waste her hope thinking, "If he sends one more message, I'll be sure." Because she knows that indifference is already an answer. If a person truly wants something, they don't leave the woman in front of them wondering. A beautiful woman doesn't waste away waiting for her own worth. She doesn't try to forcefully invent attention she can't see. Some people think they show interest even by staying silent. But in the real world, love wants to become visible. A beautiful woman knows this. If a man doesn't talk to her, doesn't call her, doesn't make an effort to meet her, she doesn't romanticize this absence. She doesn't deceive herself with excuses like, "He's getting used to me," or "Maybe he's confused." Because excuses don't calm the heart, they only cause more pain by delaying it. Taking a woman's time means stealing from her life. A beautiful woman doesn't waste her time. Instead of tying her life to the arrival of a message, she chooses to expand her own world. Interest is actually a very simple thing. It either exists or it doesn't. If it doesn't, She doesn't give the person who doesn't deserve that interest the credit of maybe one day. Hope is a beautiful feeling, but in the wrong hands, it turns into a toxic addiction. Every woman carries an intuition within her. A beautiful woman does not silence that intuition. The little warnings that come from within are often harbingers of great truths. She takes these signals seriously. A universal law is hidden within a simple sentence like, "Those who are interested in you will call you." A beautiful woman has memorized this law. That's why she doesn't like being kept waiting, being put on hold, or being pushed into the background. Interest is an equal game. One-sided effort breeds feelings of worthlessness. A beautiful woman does not play the role of being loved without feeling it. She does not leave the door open forever to people who choose to come and go. Her love is open to those who approach, not those who arrive. It is not the one who fills the void that is valuable, but the one who stands by her side. The beautiful woman prefers to be a truly loved woman, rather than a figure loved without feeling it. And most importantly, her heart deserves to be loved, not waited for. A woman does not lose value by waiting, but waiting for the wrong person is wasting her value in the wrong place. The moment a beautiful woman understands this truth, instead of feeling sad because a message hasn't arrived, she tells herself, "I am a woman worth the effort, not worth the wait." This attitude always takes her one step higher, because staying away from attention that seems to be there but isn't, is the greatest gift any woman can give her own heart. 7. She never bends her character to make him choose her. A beautiful woman does not reshape herself to win a man's love. She does not act like someone else to be loved, because she knows that a woman who changes according to someone else's expectations loses herself first. Interest gained by sacrificing one's character is short-lived and fake. She lives to be loved for who she is, not to be accepted. Eyes that cannot see her as she is do not deserve her heart. Some men test a woman's limits. The more she changes, the more they control her. A beautiful woman does not fall for this game. She does not think, "If I stay silent, he will love me more," or "If I do this, he will understand my worth." Her love is the product of genuine harmony, not false harmony. She knows it is possible to love without diminishing herself or betraying herself. And the opposite of that is not love, but surrender. Many women see being chosen by someone else as an achievement, but the beautiful woman knows that it's not about being chosen. It's about being chosen by the right person. That's why she carries her pride with her, even when she puts her heart on the line. She knows how to love while maintaining her self-respect. She does not try to prove her worth. She does not say, "Understand me," because the right person already understands, and the wrong person never will. Change is a natural part of everyone's life, but a beautiful woman changes for herself, not for someone else's pleasure. A relationship cannot be sustained by suppressing one's soul and silencing one's voice. She does not cover her feelings with a blanket. To disregard her character for the sake of being liked is to betray herself. To avoid this betrayal, she stands on her own side first, because a woman who stands on her own side is never defeated. Sometimes the hardest thing in love is to say, "No, this is not me." A beautiful woman shows that courage. She does not fit into the mold imposed on her. She does not get stuck in roles. Being able to say, "Anyone who does not accept me as I am does not deserve to be in my life." That is true freedom. She feels this freedom with every step she takes, because a man who comes by silencing her voice will eventually silence her completely. And most importantly, a beautiful woman knows how to choose, not how to be chosen. She doesn't destroy herself for the sake of being loved, because if a woman gives up on herself, whatever she gains, she loses more, her very essence. A beautiful woman doesn't compromise her essence. That's why she remains valuable. And in the end, someone who admires her stance will surely emerge. Because a woman who preserves her character is never alone. She just gets rid of the wrong crowds. 8. She never falls for cheap compliments. A beautiful woman knows that true compliments are backed up by actions. It's easy to say, "You're so beautiful." What really matters is showing it with consistent attention. Words appeal to the ear, actions appeal to the soul. That's why a beautiful woman follows the actions she sees, not the words she hears. She quickly recognizes those who try to be heroes just by talking and keeps her distance, because empty words are not worth pursuing. Some men use exaggerated words to impress a woman. They almost recite phrases like, "I've never seen anyone like you," or "You are special to me." The beautiful woman understands this memorization as soon as she hears it. These words have already been whispered to many other ears. To win her heart, an original, sincere, and genuine language is needed. A language whose meaning is not just in words, but is lived out in actions. The value of a compliment depends not on the speaker, but on the one who feels it. A beautiful woman values words that touch her soul, not her body. Many see facial beauty, few notice inner beauty. That's why what catches her attention most is someone who looks into her heart, not just her eyes. Because compliments that speak to her heart are not temporary, they leave a mark. Cheap compliments are usually a means to an end. To get closer, to manipulate, to quickly gain trust. A beautiful woman easily sees through these traps. A man who truly appreciates a woman first respects her. Sweet words from a disrespectful mouth are like poisoned honey. A beautiful woman sees the sting behind the honey. It is nearly impossible to deceive her. The path to her heart is through sincerity, not show. Someone who values her shows it not only in words, but also in deeds. He calls her, makes time for her, makes his presence felt. If his words are backed up by his actions, then those words have value. A beautiful woman measures this balance on a sensitive scale. If one side of the scale is empty, the other side does not affect her. And most importantly, a beautiful woman seeks character, not compliments. She trusts the essence of a person, not words. Because she has learned this very well. If a man truly loves you, he doesn't just tell you, he makes you feel it. That's why she surrenders her heart not to empty words, but to meaningful actions. If those actions don't come, one sentence is enough for her. She values not the one who says, "You are very beautiful," but the one who says, "You are safe with me." 9. She never tolerates others crossing her boundaries. A beautiful woman knows very well that boundaries are not a privilege, they are a fundamental right. When someone steps into her personal space, she takes a clear stand instead of silently watching. Because personal boundaries are the walls of a person's self-respect. When that wall is broken, the sense of worth quickly collapses. A beautiful woman does not allow this collapse. No matter who they are, she does not give space to anyone who does not know their place. Boundary violations sometimes come not with harsh words, but silently. An extra question, an extra touch, extra attention. She does not take these small violations lightly, because she knows that serious damage begins with small acts of disregard. When a person begins to overstep their bounds, remaining silent is tantamount to approving that behavior. The beautiful woman takes a step back when necessary, even closes the door to avoid giving that approval. She knows that if she loses this stance, she will lose herself. Setting boundaries in relationships is often interpreted as, "You're not afraid of losing me." But for the beautiful woman, this is a sign of self-confidence, not fear. She does not surrender herself so that he will not leave. Those who want to leave will leave. Those who want to stay will respect her anyway. A beautiful woman tests whether the person who will stay by her side will respect her boundaries first, because those who do not respect her boundaries will never respect her heart. Some people mistake a woman's silence for permission, but the beautiful woman knows that silence is not always consent. If someone touching her makes her uncomfortable, she doesn't hide it. If someone interferes too much in her life, she says, "Enough." When necessary, the strongest defense is a sentence, "That's enough." And she is not afraid that her voice will tremble when she says this sentence, because her spirit is strong. At work, in social circles, in relationships, boundaries speak everywhere. A beautiful woman sets her own boundaries. She doesn't bend to the demands of others. She doesn't sacrifice herself so that they won't be hurt. If someone is going to be hurt, it could be her, but her spirit will not be broken. Protecting your boundaries is not arrogance, it is defending your mental health. Being able to protect yourself is the greatest power. And most importantly, a woman who sets boundaries protects not only herself, but also the quality of her relationships. Because the right person doesn't back down when they hit those boundaries. They learn to approach her with more respect. The wrong person, on the other hand, already gives themselves away when they try to cross those boundaries. A beautiful woman makes this distinction early on. That way, only those who deserve it remain in her life. The rest go away on their own. 10. She never dresses for others, she dresses for herself. For a beautiful woman, clothing is not a competition to look good in the eyes of others. When she stands in front of the mirror, she makes choices that will make her happy. She dresses not out of a need to be liked, but out of self-respect, because she knows that the most impressive outfit is built on self-confidence. Following the tastes of others erases her identity. She changes her clothes, not her identity. When a woman dresses only to attract attention, she surrenders herself to the approval of the outside world. A beautiful woman does not do this, because she finds the source of her charm not in fabrics, but in her own posture. She knows that an outfit will not make her more valuable. Value comes first from a woman's soul, then it reflects in her eyes, her gaze, and her style. And most importantly, she follows one guiding principle when she dresses. How do I want to feel today? Whatever that answer is, that is her outfit. A woman who dresses for herself always looks stronger, more elegant, and more impressive. Because the sparkle of a style that appeals to her own soul, not to the eyes of others, never fades. And this sparkle is her most beautiful signature. A woman's true beauty shines not through the approval of others, but through her own stance. Every moment she respects herself, protects her boundaries, and doesn't diminish her value, she becomes even more beautiful. Because beauty is found not in flawless faces, but in women whose character remains unbroken. Every point we shared throughout this video was a step that brought you closer to this confident center. Remember, it's not the years that make a woman ugly, it's getting lost in the shadows of the wrong people. As you step out of those shadows, everyone watching you will notice. The light was always within you. A woman who doesn't wait for approval to be happy, doesn't beg to be loved, doesn't give up on herself for anyone, that is true beauty. And this beauty doesn't exist with anyone's permission. Now it's your turn. Whichever of these points resonated with you the most, incorporate them into your life today. Because the moment a woman remembers her worth, the whole world starts treating her differently. Return to the leading role in your own story. The power is yours, the light is yours. And never forget, no one can define you by where they left you. You start from where you stand up. If this video inspired you, please don't forget to like it and subscribe to my channel, because every step we take together is the beginning of a stronger, more confident and more radiant you. Beauty isn't just on your face, it's in your choices, your courage, and the path you walk. Take care of yourself, Never underestimate your worth. Let's meet again in the next video, because as you shine, the world becomes a more beautiful place.